The new world order is emerging. Let's explore how the global landscape is shifting. First, the global power shift. The world is shifting. The pillars of global power are trembling under the weight of new realities. Once, the United States commanded nearly 30% of global GDP. Today, that number has fallen below 25%. On the other hand, China's share has surged from just 4% in 2000 to over 18% in 2024. The balance of economic dominance is no longer unquestioned. The International Monetary Fund projects that by 2030, China could surpass the US in nominal GDP, fundamentally altering global leadership. China's economic expansion. The Belt and Road Initiative, launched in 2013 with a $1 trillion commitment, now spans over 150 countries, reshaping global trade routes. From Africa to Latin America, from Europe to the Middle East, Chinese-built highways, ports, and railways form the arteries of a new economic order. China's investments in Africa alone have surpassed $400 billion, financing critical infrastructure like the Mombasa-Nairobi Railway in Kenya and the Addis Ababa-Djibouti corridor. The world's second-largest economy is not just expanding, it is restructuring the very foundations of international trade, shifting economic dependence away from the West. U.S. protectionism and economic retraction. The United States, once the undisputed leader of global commerce, is now retreating inward. Since 2018, Washington has imposed over $500 billion in tariffs on China, while also targeting European, Canadian, and Japanese exports. Global supply chains, once designed for efficiency, are now reshuffled for security. The era of open markets is giving way to protectionism. U.S. corporations are relocating operations back home under the banner of reshoring, while China accelerates trade partnerships through the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, a trade bloc covering 30% of the world's population. The technology war. Technology is the battlefield of the 21st century. Huawei, Alibaba, and Tencent are no longer regional players. They are global titans, challenging Silicon Valley's dominance. The U.S. has responded by blacklisting Chinese firms, restricting semiconductor exports, and investing billions to reclaim technological supremacy. The CHIPS Act, passed in 2022, allocated $52 billion to boost domestic semiconductor production. But the shift is clear. China is no longer just the world's factory. It is now a leader in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and next-generation communication networks. China's AI industry, valued at $150 billion in 2024, is set to expand rapidly, with heavy government subsidies fueling research and development. AI and the battle for digital supremacy. AI is shifting the balance of power. The rise of Chinese AI models like DeepSeek has challenged the dominance of Western AI firms, directly competing with ChatGPT. DeepSeek's capabilities in multilingual understanding, efficiency, and integration into China's digital ecosystem have allowed it to become a major player, undermining U.S. AI leadership. Meanwhile, NVIDIA, once unrivaled in GPU production for AI training, faces new competition from China's homegrown semiconductor firms. The U.S. response has been to tighten chip export controls, but China's state-backed investment in chip production aims to neutralize these restrictions within a decade. Automation, job losses, and economic disruption. Artificial intelligence is reshaping labor markets. Studies predict that within few years, AI will replace 85 million jobs worldwide while creating 97 million new ones. The displacement will be massive. Nations that fail to adapt risk economic stagnation and social unrest. Automation is not just an industrial revolution, it is an economic reckoning. The financial sector alone is projected to lose over 300,000 jobs due to AI-driven automation. Meanwhile, the AI arms race between the US and China raises ethical concerns, with both countries competing to dominate military AI applications. Geopolitical conflicts and military realignment. War and diplomacy are redrawing the world map. The 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine triggered over $150 billion in Western military aid to Kyiv, deepening the divide between NATO and Russia. Sanctions against Moscow have pushed it closer to China, accelerating the rise of a Eurasian economic bloc that threatens Western financial dominance. Russia has shifted nearly all its energy exports from Europe to China and India, creating new economic dependencies. Meanwhile, Western Europe is grappling with an energy crisis as it struggles to replace Russian gas imports, which once made up 40% of its supply. Shifting alliances in the Middle East. In the Middle East, power is shifting. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Egypt are recognizing Israel, strengthening Tel Aviv's position in the region. Iran, under renewed sanctions and military pressure, faces an uncertain future as global powers decide its fate through a mix of economic isolation and selective engagement. The Abraham Accords, signed in 2020, continue to reshape alliances in the region, with Arab states increasingly prioritizing economic stability over ideological divides. At the same time, U.S. influence in the Middle East is waning, as China brokers peace deals, such as the 2023 Iran-Saudi Arabia agreement. The business of war and global militarization. The global weapons industry thrives in instability. The military-industrial complex, led by the U.S., China, and Russia, continues to fuel conflicts worldwide. Arms sales have reached unprecedented levels, with the U.S. alone exporting over $200 billion in military equipment in 2023. The war in Ukraine has driven European nations to ramp up defense spending, while Middle Eastern states continue to purchase advanced weaponry. Terrorism, once the primary justification for global military interventions, has evolved, with non-state actors leveraging cyber warfare and AI-driven propaganda to destabilize nations. Who will lead the new world order? The emerging world order will be defined by 5 key forces: economic power shifts, technological supremacy, immigration crises, geopolitical conflicts, and the military-industrial complex. As AI and automation redefine industries, China and the U.S. remain locked in an economic and technological arms race. Europe's future hinges on its ability to balance nationalism with global integration. The Middle East's power struggles will shape the security of energy markets, and terrorism, in its evolving form, will continue to test the resilience of global stability. With Trump, the fragmentation of the West has already begun. Democracy and liberal values are no longer the gules to bind Europe with U.S. The question remains: who will shape the future, and who will struggle to keep up? If you found this analysis insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into global trends. Stay informed, stay ahead. See you in the next video.